After many years of waiting, Squid Game 3 is finally upon us. The third entry into the ink-shooting Squid Kid shooter game has splattered onto our screens, ready to consume the minds of terminally online netizens once more. I have an interesting relationship with these games. When Splatoon was first announced at Nintendo Direct's presentation in E3 2014, I was immediately taken in by its interesting and unique concept. A shooter game with a focus on online multiplayer, where you play as humanoid squids that can transform into more squid-like forms, who have weapons that can shoot ink that they can swim through in those squid-like forms, which not only makes them more inconspicuous and harder to hit, but also allows you to move faster and increases your mobility, while the opposite happens if you get stuck in the enemy's ink. A game where the focus wasn't on getting the most kills against the enemy team, but covering the biggest area of the map with your team's ink. A game that allowed you to make both posts and drawings within the game itself, which would then appear in-game as graffiti in both the hub world and on the maps you were playing. I wasn't the biggest fan of shooter games at the time, nor was I of competitively focused games, but I was intrigued, so I bought the game. And while I enjoyed it, I quickly grew bored of the game due to my aforementioned lack of interest in competitively focused games. As such, I'd say that my attitude towards Splatoon is one of general indifference. I've bought every single Splatoon game at launch, and while I don't particularly hate them, I wouldn't say they're the most incredible games that I've ever played either, although there are quite a few things that I like. So since the latest game just came out, and because of my generally neutral feelings on the franchise, I thought it'd be fun to make a review of this game without any large particular bias for or against it. This review will be spoiler free insofar as spoilers about the story mode, but due to how the game is structured with its multiplayer focused, most everything else will be fair game. Also, I just want to mention real quick that again, I am not an avid Splatoon player. So if you're expecting an in-depth review about particular buffs and nerfs, or commentary about how the meta will evolve and change with this new entry, I'm absolutely not at all qualified to talk about that, I'm sorry. This is going to be a review from the perspective of a casual. So if you're looking for a more in-depth analysis, I think you're better off watching somebody else. I don't know, like maybe this guy. Also, if this video is something you enjoy, please like, subscribe, or let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It will help me grow, and I'm always eager to see what any potential viewers think. So without further ado, let's ink it up. If there's anything that the Splatoon devs have done well, it's making their hub worlds feel lived in, like you're exploring an actual city that exists in the real world. Splatsville is the biggest hub world that we've seen yet, and I think it's one of the most impressive hub worlds that we've seen yet. When I got to interact with this city during the Splatfest world premiere, I spent a good amount of time just wandering around and just exploring because of how big it was. I really feel they've managed to capture the spirit of an urban city now more than ever with Splatsville, and I definitely appreciate this new environment. In terms of Splatsville, it's got the standard fare that we've seen in the previous games. You've got the lobby for getting into online games, the shoal from local multiplayer, Grizzco for Salmon Run, as well as different stores for various bits of gear that you can equip. There's also a new general store for items that you can buy for your personal locker, which you can then use to customize it to your heart's content. One of the biggest and best changes that I've seen so far is that the lobby actually has, well, a lobby that you can sit in and practice your skills with your weapons before the match starts, which is a much welcome and much needed addition to the game. Furthermore, the lobby allows you to customize your splat tag, which is essentially just like a customizable banner that shows up during the start of games, when you win a match, and if you're killed by someone, in a similar fashion to Call of Duty. This is probably one of my favourite cosmetic additions to the game, and I really enjoy customizing my splat tag with new decals, badges and titles whenever I get the opportunity. You can mainly unlock new customization options through this machine in the lobby, which can give you new decals and titles, although as some of you may have suspected, what it gives you is random, and while you can get more cosmetic options, it also has a chance of giving you a meal ticket, which can be traded in at the nearby store in order to do things like increasing the amount of money or experience that you get. One of the things that I also neglected to mention is that in this game you also have a catalogue level. For every level that you hit, you can claim a prize from the general store, and this is another way to get some of the aforementioned cosmetics as well as some exclusive gear. It's also the only way, at least to my knowledge anyway, of getting emotes, which are basically special victory animations. And honestly, I love this. I can't even express how much I like how the Splatoon team has expanded the level of customization. As someone who is an avid RPG fanatic, one of the aspects that I like the most about it is the level of customization, whether that be through the gear I equip, the classes I can choose from, the skills that I take, the stats I increase, all of that blends into a unique experience that allows me to tackle different scenarios in different ways. So when I see games that embrace customization and improve upon it, that just makes the light bulb in my little monkey brain glow right the fuck up. But enough about the hub world, let's actually talk about the game itself. So what do I think of the main attraction in Splatoon? Well, it's pretty good. I don't know if they specifically changed how the game works or it's just me deluding myself because ooh, shiny new game or something, but the game just feels much faster paced and more fluid. I haven't really tried out too many weapons in this game, although that's mainly because I dislike or can't use a lot of the weapons in them, but I've been a big fan of using the N-Zap. N-Zap means where we at, baby! Due to its decent range and high rate of fire, and the Dually Squelchers due to having the benefits of dodge rolls and increased mobility while having a pretty long range. There have been a number of special weapons that have been added, and while I haven't tried all of them yet, my favourite one thus far has been the Tacticooler. At first it seems like all it does is just increase your movement speed. However, what I think makes this special truly shine is its secondary ability, which allows you to instantly respawn if you're killed while its effects are active. Being able to instantly get back into the fray can make or break matches, and I can easily see this being able to be used for a super aggressive style of play, both in standard play and in ranked, but maybe that's just me. While all of this is pretty positive, there's been one thing that's been overshadowing the experience and making it a little unbearable. Connection errors! Splatoon 3 was plagued with connection errors at launch, with players randomly being booted out of games for no reason.
Bro, what?
You could be forgiving for thinking that this is just an internet issue and that people shouldn't be playing a modern online game using a dial-up modem, but the thing is, this issue is prolific. Practically everyone I've spoken to who plays Splatoon has experienced at least one connection error, even people who I know have decent internet speeds. And I've seen so many people make comments about connection errors online. It got so bad that Nintendo rushed the patch out of the door not even a full week after launch, where one of the patch notes specifically addresses the fact that they supposedly fixed the connection error issue. Which is funny, considering that as of me making this video, I've encountered more connection issues and longer wait times for matches post-patch than I ever did pre-patch. The fact that I have never had the best internet speeds, yet I can't even recall a single time that I ever had issues like this in Splatoon 1 or 2, says to me that this is definitely an issue on Nintendo's end that they have yet to fully fix. Because imagine that you're in the middle of a match, victory is all but assured, just a few more seconds to go and boom! Connection error. At best it's a mild annoyance, and at worst it makes the game borderline unplayable. It's a shame because I have almost nothing but praise about the multiplayer otherwise, considering how addictive it is, but until this issue is fixed, it's hampered from being as good as it could be. It's an issue that even extends to Splatoon 3's other game modes too, and speaking of other game modes... Salmon Run is back. The much welcomed game mode from Splatoon 2 has returned. I'd say out of all of the changes that Splatoon 3 has brought, Salmon Run has seen the least, but it's still amazingly fun overall. For the uninitiated, Salmon Run is a game mode introduced in Splatoon 2 which is basically like a survival game mode in a similar fashion to zombies in COD. Players are tasked with defending themselves against the Salmonids, a race of fish creatures that come from the sea. In order to complete a match, the players need to survive for 3 rounds, all while collecting golden eggs in each round. Each round has a quota for golden eggs that need to be collected for that round, and you lose if either the quota for that round isn't met or if the entire team is wiped out by the Salmonids. Golden eggs are collected by defeating boss Salmonids, powerful Salmonids that have unique ways in which they need to be overcome. For example, you have the Steelhead where you have to shoot the bomb on its head to make it blow up in its face, the Flyfish where you have to throw bombs into its missile silos when it opens them up, except that most of the time no one will do this and will just let the Flyfish continuously bombard our team, leading to inevitable deaths, which then leads to our team having to waste time reviving people, which will most likely get them killed in the process, which on harder difficulties will ultimately end in a team wipe and a pay cut for everyone. And then there's the Stinger where you just have to shoot it to death. Splatoon 3 introduced several new boss salmonids into the mix, being the fish stick, which drives a pillar into a random location on the map before covering the surrounding area in enemy ink, the flipper flopper, which jumps into the air, highlighting its landing zone with a circle of enemy ink that you have to cover so you can attack it, the slamming lid, which creates a force field that protects salmonids while summoning smaller salmonids, and the big shot, which uses a cannon to fire cannonballs that cause damaging shockwaves to spread out from its target area. Salmon Run also has some special events that can randomly occur each wave for which some salmonids are exclusive to, but I'll leave the events and the special salmonids as a surprise for you who are watching this video but might not have played the game yet. After a successful match you earn Grisco points, the amount of which you earn being determined by the amount of power eggs and golden eggs you collected in that shift, as well as your rank. Each successful run you do earns a pay rise, with unsuccessful runs earning you a pay cut, the severity of which is dependent on your performance, or just simply keeping your pay grade retained. Once you get enough pay rises, you'll advance to the next rank, which enables you to get more Grisco points, which when you earn enough points, nets you a capsule which you can trade in to receive money or various other items like drink or food tickets. There's also one little addition that I haven't talked about yet. Whenever you complete a match in Salmon Run, this little salmonid shaped gauge on the right hand side of the screen will fill up. Once it gets close to being full, there's a chance that once you complete a match you'll enter into an extra round, where you'll face off against a king salmonid. There's only one in the game at the moment, an utterly massive salmonid called the Kohozuna, and it is a bitch to take down. If you do take it down though, you earn fish scales, which can be turned in for exclusive banners, cosmetics for your locker, and alternative work costumes for Salmon Run. Now that I've covered Salmon Run, there's one more part of Splatoon 3 that I want to cover. So let's talk about the story mode. So, Splatoon story mode. What do I think of it? Well, considering that Splatoon story modes have been completely fucking terrible, at least in my opinion anyway, I went into this campaign with extremely low expectations. I consider Splatoon 1's campaign to be a chore to complete, but I still felt like the finale more than made up for it in the end. And once I realised that Splatoon 2's campaign was more or less exactly the same, I didn't even bother completing it, and even if I did, I'm sure that I would have been literally bored to death before I completed it anyway. So I'm here to announce that Splatoon 3's campaign, at least in comparison to the ones before it, is absolutely amazing. I don't even think there is a combination of words that exist in the English language that could even describe the astronomically wide gap between these two campaigns and the first. The Splatoon 3 campaign is so massively improved over its predecessors, namely by virtue of the fact that it is actually enjoyable. While I won't spoil too much of the story, what I will say is that the story takes place in a place called Alterna, and your main goal is rescuing Craig Cuttlefish, the grandfather of Callie and Marie from the first game. However, the world of Alterna is filled with this fuzzy goop that's dangerous to the touch. This requires you to collect power eggs, so that once you've gathered enough, your little pal Small Fry can eat through it and allow you to proceed. Your main source for collecting power eggs in this campaign will be through the various trials that you're tasked with completing, in a similar fashion to Splatoon 2's Octo expansion. And let me tell ya, this is a much needed breath of fresh air from the previous campaigns. Whereas every level in those was centered around getting from point A to point B with a smattering of obstacles in between which very quickly overstayed its welcome, Splatoon 3 has various objectives like hitting every target, completing a level using only a specific special weapon, clearing a level where you have fog obscuring your vision. Every level has its own unique gimmick that keeps things interesting. Not to mention that completing the trials in the game gives you access to these Alterna logs, which are initially encrypted at first but gradually decrypt themselves with every trial you complete, offering up additional lore about Alterna and why it exists, giving an additional incentive to actually complete the trials. Unlike Splatoon 1's campaign where I only ended up completing it due to the sunk cost fallacy being well and truly in effect, here I felt a genuine motivation to actually go out of my way to complete all of the trials because I wanted to uncover the mystery behind Alterna due to it being one of the most interesting and engaging locales that we've ever seen in Splatoon to date, and I seriously do not regret that decision in any capacity. If you haven't played this game yet, or you haven't tried or finished the story mode, I urge you to complete it. It is so good. Trust me on this. After everything I've said about how much I hated the old campaigns, I went out of my way to complete this campaign 100%. If that doesn't convince you, then nothing will. If you want an engaging story with enjoyable levels, a great atmosphere where the stakes are higher, the narrative is more involved and more developed than "oh no, the Octarians stole the great Zapfish again," with the deep lore that Splatoon surprisingly has a lot of, then this is the campaign for you. This is the campaign that I've been waiting 3 games for, and I sincerely hope that it sets a precedent for everything that will follow. And that, my friends, is the end of my review. Hopefully this was able to give you an insight into Splatoon 3 and how it's improved so much over its predecessors. This is definitely the most engaged I've ever been in Splatoon yet, and we'll see how long that lasts, but I have a feeling that it will probably be the longest time yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.